Let's talk about dividend investing. This is very popular right now, and with good reason. Who doesn't want to be paid in passive income every quarter just for owning shares in a company? Now, instead of going out and finding those companies and putting together some portfolio, what if you could buy an ETF that does all that work for you? Well, that's where Vanguard's high yield dividend ETF comes in. It's ticker symbol VYM, and we're gonna talk about that ETF in this video today. We'll go through the companies that make up this ETF. We'll talk about the dividend yield, and if you stick around to the end, I will share my personal experience investing my own money into this fund. Welcome back to Joshua Talks Money. This is my channel where I share things that I've learned and that I'm still learning about money after building and selling my tech company, and now I focus a lot on investing. I'd love for you to consider subscribing, liking this video, and joining me for content like this every single week. Hitting that subscribe button helps me tremendously. It's free, and I would really appreciate it. Okay, so VYM is Vanguard's high dividend yield ETF, and they launched this back in 2006. And as their website explains, the goal of this ETF is to really track dividend paying companies that pay higher than average dividends to their investors, and put those in a fund where that dividend payment can be passed along to you in the form of a distribution every quarter. Here in VYM, the top 10 companies make about 23% of the fund. These top 10 holdings are giant corporations that you've heard of, that you interact with probably on a daily basis. And because of that strength and size, that's the reason that they've paid higher than average dividends, and many of these companies have paid those dividends for a long period of time. So if you think of a company like Johnson & Johnson, right now they're well known, of course, because of their COVID-19 vaccine. But if you think about everything that they actually do, it's pretty staggering to see a graphic like this where you just really think of the size of that corporation. All right, so how has VYM actually performed? You can see here the 1 year is about 22%, the 5 year is a bit over 10%, 10 year is at 12.6%, and since inception back in 2006, it's at an 8.39%. But this is all about dividends. So currently, as I'm filming this, the dividend yield is 2.27% roughly. And how you can think about that is the amount of money that the companies that make up this fund are paying on average per quarter to you, annualized out, is about 2.27%. So let's look at what that actually means. If you were to put $1,000 into VYM with that 2.2% dividend yield, that basically comes out to about $22.70 of dividends paid to you over the course of a year. Pretty cool. Using that $1,000 example, that comes out to a little over $5 per quarter, or $5 every 3 months is kind of how I like to think about it. If you start to scale that up, these numbers get really exciting. So at a $10,000 level, that same 2.2% yield would be $227 per year, or about $56 per quarter. Scaling that up further to $100,000 invested with that 2.27% yield, that's about $2,270 per year. Now, if you divide that by 12 months, if you just put that in context, that's about $190 a month. And what I like to do is think of some of these things in terms of phone bills, plane tickets, car payments, right? So $190 a month for me would cover my phone bill. So I think of like passive income from dividends covering parts of my living expenses. That's pretty cool. And so of course these numbers are going to change and fluctuate over time with the market. But what's really cool is not only are you getting those dividends paid to you, the appreciation of the ETF and the shares that you own themselves is also going up. And so one cool strategy that you can consider is take those dividends and reinvest them back into VYM. And what will happen is what started as maybe just a small $5 quarterly dividend will start to compound and grow. And over time, of course, that can have a huge impact on your investing and your portfolio. All right, but do I personally own VYM? Well, the answer is I do not. I did, and I did so back in 2020, and I'll show you here on the screen. I made 2 purchases, about 60 shares of VYM, and this was kind of late summer, early fall of 2020. But I really went into it with the wrong mindset. I'm kind of smiling because I'm embarrassed about this. I went into it and thought, wow, that's pretty cool. The things I'm sharing with you in this video got me excited. But what I realized was I was impatient. So I bought the shares. I held on to them, I want to say 6 months tops. I received 1 dividend payment, like $50, and then I just decided I was going to sell it. I think what happened is I wasn't adding to the position. I wasn't seeing tons of appreciation in the shares themselves. And I thought, hey, I want to be in a couple other things. And so I just sold what I had. I did make some money, of course, and I put my money elsewhere. Now that I look back, that was a stupid thing to do. I should have just kept them. Even if I wanted to deploy the capital elsewhere, I could have left those shares alone and I'd be wealthier for doing so. And so learn from my mistakes, right? If you plan to invest in VYM, if you're interested in that, then take the approach of patience. Appreciate the small dividends. It's exciting. You're making money from doing nothing. So appreciate that, let it grow and compound. And then I would say that just keep the long-term view. You know, I talk about this and tell you guys this all the time, and then I didn't do it myself. But yes, overall, VYM is a pretty exciting exchange-traded fund. I'm probably going to go buy more shares at some point, and then I'm not going to sell them, and I'll report back on how that goes for me. All right, so that's about it for VYM. I hope you found this helpful, and please leave me a comment. Let me know, did I make a mistake selling the shares? Yes, yeah, the answer is yes. But I respond to every comment. I love talking to you all, and I will be back here with a new video soon. We will talk then.